Devon's actions crossed the line, but it's not an objective fact that he crossed the line. It's just a widely held opinion. I think that's important to understand. I also like that he isn't willing to let the rules of YouTube or the sensibility of those around him influence his content.
To start, I would like all of you to look at this message here. What if Atheist Rule revealed that your name is your brother, your mother, your father, and your grandmother? Atheist Rule will get you. In 4chan, perhaps? This message was sent to Vernaculus after he criticized AIU's position on gun control, to which AIU, by the way, replied with, "Hey lazy-eyed freak, make a video about me and your name will be revealed. Simple as that, your move. Hashtag Year of the Dogs." He didn't call him a racist, or did any of those other things AIU likes to call "slander, them are slandering me, my name." No, Vernaculus merely criticized his position on gun control. Does this sound to you like an argument or a response to criticism, or does it sound like something you would expect some low-life street thug to say? Does this in any fucking way sound like a reasonable response by a rational person? I believe most of you know Vernaculus, know who he is. Probably one of the most mild-mannered YouTubers out there. Someone who would respond to criticism of his position very calmly and rationally. Yet, what we are confronted with here is neither criticism nor any kind of argument, but nothing more than a blatant, vile, and disgusting threat. The argument that the flying cocksuckers reveal people just to confront them on the basis of some misguided notion of honor falls apart the very moment you notice that many of the people they dox do not in any fucking way slander them, but criticize their actions. Ironically, the reason why they dox people is best summed up through a statement by one of the thickest and most disgusting of them, a guy going by the name of Billy Bong. Listen to this. "Now, no matter how much you may not like us for finding out your name, you saw how nothing has come of it. None of us have tried to use your info in any way to harm you or anyone you know. I hope you realize now our intent is not malicious. I know it may seem like we use it to silence people, but honestly, I think the reason we do it to those who come at us is because we know it gets under people's skin. We, see that, not I, but we see how mad they get and how fast, so we jump on weakness and get a kick out of it at the moment. Honestly though, Beth, I hope you get that. No matter how we fuck around, we have no intent of harming anyone, and we have no intent to dox those at risk of danger, such as an ex-Muslim or something like that." That statement from none other than the fucking horse's mouth itself pretty much destroys the bullshit notion that this doxing spree has something to do with preserving some ridiculous notion of honor or integrity. These are people who lack any intellectual power and therefore resort to the power of threatening people to inflict supposed victories over those they consider weak because they argue on the basis of the merits of ideas rather than fists. Fucking people up, getting under their skin, being a nuisance, and nothing more than a fucking man-child with the mentality of a 12-year-old schoolyard bully. That is all these people have and drive on. Some may compare them with SJWs, but let's be honest here. The type of behavior displayed by someone like that thick fuck Billy here is more comparable to the behavior of some low-life street thug. And I find it really fucking amusing how Billy then professes how much his gang of thugs would never ever, under any fucking circumstances ever, seek to inflict any kind of so-called actual harm on anyone. Within 24 hours after someone going by the name of Billy doxed both my brother and me and posted a picture that was doxed previously, whilst proudly professing to do it for AIU, that picture turned up on an Antifa blog for supposed wanted people. In case you don't know what the Antifa is, it's a left-wing radical organisation of thugs who in the past attacked police stations, burned down cars and firebombed the homes of people who they consider to be fascist, who is pretty much everyone to the right of Mao Zedong. The blog post has such amazing and compassionate lines in it as, "Find his friends, find his family, have fun hunting him down, teach him a lesson." The idea that publishing identifying information of people will not have any fucking consequences is nothing more than a pathetic excuse to attempt to escape responsibility for your fucking actions. You are actively laying out the breadcrumbs that people merely need to pick up and follow. And since we are still here looking at Billy Bong, his behaviour after my doxing speaks more for itself than any pathetic apologetics by one of his fellow morons ever could. Here he is celebrating my doxing, adding the line that once he has my address, he will come to smash my face in. Amusing considering how he wonderfully contradicts his own fucking statement on violence. And here he is, later on, threatening to dox my girlfriend. The person in that livestream, by the way, is pure fucking gold. She came on my stream and seriously claimed that they dox people out of compassion, because they want everyone else to be able to speak publicly without having to be anonymous. Essentially saying that doxing is caring. But continuing on to the topic of my doxing, several months ago when I still had around 1,000 subscribers, I did an off-air hangout with friends which included 2 flying monkeys who I am not going to name, and I had to find out last week that one of these 2 cunts already made a screen cap of me several months ago for the purpose of publishing it last week. As it was published last week, I am not able to pinpoint which one of these 2 bastards was actually responsible for taking that screen cap. But the very fact that the flying monkeys collect people's docs before these people ever even cross them is very telling. Throughout the past week, many have come and contacted me, giving me information on the extent of this entire mess throughout the past months, showing me evidence of not just names but also addresses and phone numbers being published, AIU himself even revealing the location of a person. And probably the single most scummy thing I have seen during the past week, AIU's Australian lapdog blackmailing a 14-year-old kid. Yeah, the kid wasn't just doxed. This disgusting, repugnant little piece of filth here got the docs of a school friend of the 14-year-old kid, then contacted the kid and tried to blackmail him by saying he would dox his friend if he didn't make a grovelling apology to AIU. And then this piece of shit went ahead and doxed that totally uninvolved kid anyway. You think this couldn't sink any lower? Well, one of AIU's followers actually contacted someone who made a video about him, told him that she knew his real name and tried to fucking blackmail him into making some grovelling apology. After that, she made a fake Facebook account of that guy, impersonating that person, contacting that person's family, pretending to be him, and stirring up shit in that person's family. Seriously, are these the actions of someone you would call a rational member of some skeptic community? Some people have said that these actions have more in common with those of a social justice warrior, but I will go a step further and will put it into the room that these are the actions of a bunch of low-life thugs. I find it amusing how AIU made a video response to me which I haven't even watched yet. A friend told me that the article he used to justify his behavior is an article by a social justice warrior who doxed someone and wrote this very article to defend her disgusting behavior, and I guess he didn't even realize that. But more to the point, debate is conducted on a public forum between people on the basis of arguments, and arguments stand on merit. Here, throughout the past week, the actions I had to face by his fans speak more about the situation than any words ever could. I presented these actions to you and will leave it for you to judge. So this is something I'm cutting in here, and it is the reason why the video is late. Jamie impersonating the outspoken realist on Facebook and using that impersonation to mess around with his family, claiming to be him. Well, besides of course being something completely immoral, that smelled really illegal to me, and I wanted to take the time to look deeper into it by first looking at the laws concerning this in the state she lives in. And yes, indeed, it's illegal. The false impersonation of a person on the internet is a criminal offense punishable with a fine ranging to $1,000. The law says, quote, Section 1, Section 528.5. A. Notwithstanding any other provision of law, any person who knowingly and without consent credibly impersonates another actual person through or on an internet web site or by other electronic means for the purpose of harming, intimidating, threatening, or defrauding another person is guilty of a public offense punishable pursuant to subdivision D. B. For the purpose of this section, any impersonation is credible if another person would reasonably believe or did reasonably believe that the defendant was or is the person who was impersonated. C. For purpose of this section, electronic means shall include opening an email account or an account or profile on a social networking internet website in another person's name. D. A violation of subdivision A is punishable by a fine not exceeding $1,000 or by imprisonment in a county jail not exceeding 1 year, or by both that fine and imprisonment. E. In addition to any other civil remedy available, a person who suffers damage or loss by reason of a violation of subdivision A may bring a civil action against the violator for compensatory damages and injunctive relief for other equitable relief pursuant to paragraphs 1, 2, 4, and 5 of subdivision E and subdivision. Adding to that, the bill passed in the California Senate in 2011 says, existing law also makes it a crime to knowingly access and, without permission, alter, damage, delete, destroy, or otherwise use any data, computer system, or computer network in order to devise or execute any scheme or artifice or to defraud, deceive, or extort, or wrongfully control or obtain money, property, or data for a violation thereof in addition to specified criminal penalties. Existing law authorizes an aggravated party to bring a civil action against the violator as specified. Now, here's something else to add up to this. If the false impersonation is done as a criminal misdemeanor, the punishment is extended to add up to a year in prison and a fine up to $10,000. And, additionally, if the false impersonation is done as a criminal felony, the punishment ranges from 2 to 3 years in prison and the fine of up to $10,000. And under California law, blackmail and extortion are classified as criminal felonies. I wanted to be certain about this, so I tried to contact someone who actually is in US law enforcement. I managed to get a hold of someone from Texas and not in California, but he confirmed to me that what was done here is a criminal offense. That the same law pretty much also exists in Texas, with the only difference being that in Texas the punishment is up to 10 years in prison. But this guy also went through the effort of pointing out to me that not just state law applies here, but that such an impersonation with malicious intent also violates federal law, not just because it happened across states, but because these actions violate the Computer Fraud and Abuse Act. However, he did point out to me that if a state prosecutor handled the case, a federal prosecutor might not see the need to pursue such a case. So in summary, we have here a person who gets doxed by this person, and this person then uses that information to contact him to try and fucking blackmail him. And after he refuses to give in to her demands, she uses that information to make a Facebook account impersonating him with malicious intent to screw with his family, thereby committing a criminal felony and possibly violating federal law. Fucking hell, she even bragged about doing all of this. And I can already hear the chorus of whimpery whinies from doxing is caring to we only dox names to nothing ever happened to this happened a year ago. Well, fuck you. This is a criminal felony. It's black and white in the law books. I, for one, have advised the outspoken realist to inform his family that what was done to them 11 months ago was in fact a criminal offence, and that they should report this to the authorities and to make sure that the prosecutor presses felony charges, and if possible, also bring a civil lawsuit. I, for one, have seen enough to know what I'm dealing with here, and I hope that there will be an example set with that particular case. And will now move on to doing my regular content. And the most important thing to take out of all of this, we here have a follower of AIU who, even though probably not directly ordered by him, decided to cross the line from what is legal into illegal for her sleazy cultish god king.